Hey up everybody, welcome back. Here we are again. These weeks are flying in, aren't they? This is episode 5 of the Yorkshire Fitness Podcast. Here we go. So joined again, I'm great, Mark on the other end. He's over at work, we're at work for his gym. So loads to talk about today. We want to talk, it's quite a common subject, a really big question. Let's say it's a really important question. Women and strength training, and why should they do it, or why should you do it? We have quite a lot. I'll just brush upon this a little bit. I'll talk a little bit for us both.
Yeah,
start
with. You normally do.
I know, yeah, I do. It's when you're starting off, it just happens, doesn't it? So, Mark, I'll bring you into this a little bit. So, loads of we've got mainly. We're about 75% out with female members. Personal training, a small group things. It's nearly all women, about 75%. And a question that we get asked lots is just like, like the type of training, when they first come, if we don't know, the women that are starting, generally they've been recommended, they've come from a referral, so they've got an idea of things that we're doing. But when we kind of have a little chat and show them around the gym, and we talk about like the process that we try and work on, and the things that how they're going to benefit from different the question is generally, why do I want to do weights? And the question is, will I get big and muscly? I'm really worried about doing weights. I've never really wanted to do weights before because I will get big and muscly, and it's like, so we have to straight away go like, whoa, like that is really difficult to do. So we just have a chat about, like we just spoke earlier, didn't we, just about the physiology of everything, and like kind of that. But really quickly though, we'll brush upon this. So I spoke to you this about last week, Mark, didn't I, about one of the lasses that we train. I've been training Jo for years. She's been coming to boot camp and as gym classes for 4 or 5 years, I think now. So she loves it. It's part of her life. She knows, she understands the benefits. But recently she's been getting into, she really enjoys the strength side of it. She loves lifting weights, and she's really good. She's got good technique, and she's progressed through really quickly and got stronger, hasn't she? Shifting some great weights, and she enjoys it. So
put into share.
Not many don't.
Is that difficult? Oh, I don't know.
No, it's not. I'm easily shamed, that's why.
Joking, mate.
So, because she's been sharing her results, and we've been sharing her results online, social media, maybe family members, work colleagues are questioning Jo, saying, why are you doing your weights? Why do you want to be so strong? Are you trying to be a bodybuilder? They don't there's this big misconception, but the general questions are coming from people who don't necessarily go to the gym and do strength training. So it's quite a little bit of a, what they call it, a taboo subject, in it. Like it's one of them kind of, some people, you either love it or you just avoid it completely and just pretend that you don't need to do it. So we thought, didn't we, all three of us, that this
but there is other reasons, and like there's the one that women think they're going to get big and muscle, they're going to have big muscle shoulders, big upper body, massive legs. But then also, like, to go into a gym, it's quite intimidating lifting area, isn't it? Or it can be. And this is what we've heard as well. Like a lot of women say, well, I would never have gone into the gym and done any weights before, because you don't feel like you know what you're doing. You just have blokes hogging bench press, or big dumbbells and grunting and stuff. So they don't want to. They won't even dare go in and attempt. Even the ones who know the benefits.
Over years, that's what a lot have told us. Like,
that's not us saying that. That's what we get told. So when they come in, the good thing for them coming here is they're not getting looked upon by anyone else, or making them feel like they're being looked down upon by some bloke in corner on his bench press and not knowing what to do. So they learn into, and they love it then, don't they? Yeah. Most women actually
really enjoy
and the feel of lifting weights and what it does. So, and the benefits, I think. So it's just to get it out there a little bit more, which I know it is I think CrossFit brought it in quite a bit. And it, to be fair, like there's a lot of women who lift now CrossFit and they do it, and I know that's different to us, but it's becoming more mainstream, but there is still a massive proportion of women who, who do seem to, or even the friends, like, why are you lifting weights? And that paranoia of
so if we can, so today's objective, whatever we say, is we can use you, Mark, we can pick your brain and you can put your point across. So it's not, because a lot of our members just hear our side of the story, don't they? You know, like, it's me and Mark, we believe this, we believe that, the research says this. It'll be great for them to hear it come from your point of view, with your background and knowledge about strength and conditioning, what you've had over years, being slightly from a different background to us. So that'll be great from our member point of view, but then just from general population as well. I think let's just get rid of some of the myths about it, you know, like about the old bodybuilding image that comes with lifting weights.
Absolutely. And one of the things I'd add to that is, it's not just about the things you mentioned. That isn't just about the female population. It's about different sports and different. I think society still has a thing about lifting weights being a male thing to get bigger, and that probably came from like the 70s and 80s with Arnold Schwarzenegger and that explosion in bodybuilding. And that was all the thing that you could see in the media was Arnold and Rocky and Rambo and lifting weights in the Muscle magazine and Flex magazine, and that was it. That was our image of it. And then as time has progressed, we've got a bit more aware of different types of lifting weights, but I think that thing still exists. And from a strength and conditioning point of view, that mentality is something still I overcome. I was in the gym today teaching some students, and some football students were in there, and not male, not the male and female mix. They both have the same perspective, going, I don't do this because I don't want to get big and bulky for my sport. And I was like, well, it doesn't happen like that. That isn't a reality. It isn't just a male female thing. I think there's as many males out there as there are females that have that perception.
Yeah,
but
and even athletes then as well, not just
absolutely,
athletes worried about getting big and bulky and it affecting the sports.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially if you are in a weight category sport. If you're in a sport where your performance relies on you sitting within a certain weight category, you really are paranoid about kind of any change.
Mark, there's weight. Also one for endurance athletes as well, and I mean it does open up a whole full can of worms, I suppose you could say, doesn't it, about weight, you know, about lifting weights, you know, like how much, you know, endurance athletes, everybody, you know, like they were always the same, weren't they? They don't do weights because they don't want to get big. And
absolutely, yeah.
Lifting weights doesn't necessarily make you big, and there's different kinds, there's different ways of training for how you know how you're going to develop muscle, you know.
Absolutely,
So
hopefully today,
let's start with the first one then. Let's ask you the first one, and just for you to just briefly give us a bit of a your side of explanation on number one, why will not anybody just get big and bulky from lifting weights, but maybe more so focus on the female side of it, on why they will not just get big and bulky.
Yeah. I'll try to be as simplistic as it can be and not give too much of a detailed physiology of this lesson. So the first thing between the male and female difference would be that we have different hormonal profiles. So I'll just kind of open it by kind of just explaining how we came to this kind of understanding. So what we're talking about here is on general. Okay, if I took 1,000 men and 1,000 women and studied them, I'm going to talk about typically what would be the average of that. Now, within that 1,000 people, there'll be some men who are weaker, some women who are stronger, faster, bigger, smaller. There's always going to be individual differences. But we're just talking about on average, the mean average of those 1,000 different men and women that we looked at. Men have testosterone and women have less. And testosterone is what we call an anabolic hormone, the hormone responsible for increasing muscle mass. So without a lot of that, you are going to struggle to put on mass. You're going to struggle to put on muscle mass. You can get stronger, but that might not necessarily come with an increasing muscle mass. So there's like a window of opportunity for men where they can find it relatively easy to put on muscle. That's from like kind of 18 up to kind of 30. And either side of that, it's relatively difficult. So there's actually the whole population of humanity, and then all the people that can do weights. There's only a very small proportion of those people that can really easily put on weight. Everybody else is going to find it really hard. And the second thing is that you have to really have that as a specific intention, both from how you train and how you eat. You have to have a really specific internal environment to create muscle. You have to have a lot of protein. You have to be fully rested, fully recovered, great sleep, and then you have to put your muscle through the right kind of training that's going to stimulate it to grow. Now, that you have to really do that out of choice and be really deliberate in trying to gain muscle. And actually, some women can do that. I talk about that 1,000 women. Within that 1,000, some will, some won't. Most won't. Some will be most will be around that kind of middle ground and not be able to. There'll be some to the far extreme who can, but they're really few and far between. But you still have to go out with this explicit intention to try to increase your muscle mass. And to do that, it's about certain rep ranges. So you're looking at kind of 8 to 12 repetitions. You're having to have a certain amount of load. So you're looking at around about that 70 to 80% of your muscle mass. You don't have to train to fatigue, but you're pretty close. And you have to kind of have a certain amount of volume of that. So you have to do a certain number of repetitions within a set across the week to try and get that. So you really have to go out from the outset to do that. Now, of that 1,000 women, maybe 990 don't have the physiology. Even if they did that kind of training, they still couldn't put on muscle. Now, I'll come to muscle tone a little bit later, because sometimes putting on muscle and muscle tone get confused. And one is desirable, one isn't desirable. And we'll talk about that in a second. So basically, to give a really simple answer to that one, most women can't get muscular, like increasing size of muscle to look like those stereotypical 1980s bodybuilders that we see and back in like Pumping Iron films and all those kind of things. Now you can increase muscle tone. That is the perception,
isn't it? That is the perception a lot of people have got. Like, as soon as you lift a weight, you are going to start looking like the bodybuilders, and it's not probably 90% of the population. That's not a look that they want to achieve, is it?
Absolutely not. And the second thing I'm going to get to is strength training and hypertrophy training, or muscle mass-based training, are different. They might look similar to the untrained eye, but to the more experienced, the SSC coaches or the personal trainers, they are slightly different. So strength training is with intention to get stronger, to move more weight, to express more force. And that kind of training doesn't really stress the muscle very much. It stresses what we call the neuromuscular systems, the brain, the nervous system, and the muscle. And it's a neurological thing. It's a nervous system control thing, rather than really kind of blowing the muscle up and making it completely filled with blood and lactate and all those other horrible, nasty things you get at the end of a weight session. In strength training, it feels very different. It doesn't feel like a hypertrophy session. So you might feel like you are tired, but you won't feel like a muscle pump kind of sensation. That kind of training makes you stronger. Men might see a small amount of muscle mass increase, but women typically not. But here's the real kind of kicker at the end of it. You will see an increase in muscle tone, because muscle tone is created by how much the muscle is stimulated by the brain. So at rest, all of our muscles have a certain amount of muscle tone. The more we train, the more increasing muscle tone that we get. So strength training will have a more direct impact on your muscle tone than any other form of training. Now, I'm sure that term has come across you guys. You must hear that a lot.
Yeah, well, that's the goal that for most men, if I'm honest, who we get, female, that's not female. I think most men who we don't get bodybuilder type people coming here. We don't get them, but they all want that little bit more muscle tone. They just want to look a little bit better with a top off on beach, don't they? Or with the shorts on, or whatever it might be. They just want to look that little bit better. Like you say, it's about muscle tone, body fat percentage. It's that people are looking for. They're not looking. We don't get anybody looking. I want to get big. You know what I mean? I want. You know what I mean? I want to build up. I want to be able to. We don't get that, and that's probably because we're not like that. So we don't attract them kind of people, do we? So
it's an improvement body.
But 100%, most women who come to us, they always say they want to tone up. That's the term. That's like the bit. I just want to tone up. So like you said, so achieving muscle tone, and this is why we always go down that route of that type of training for them.
Because it's just an improvement of body composition. Like, they can word it however they want, kind of. It's general, general idea behind it, and usually what spurs somebody on to contact us or come to the gym or up the amount of sessions they're doing is because they want to improve the body composition. Like you just said, whether it's muscle, whether it's the tone, but generally they do say to us, I want to tone up. So that brings you, it goes you straight back to the cycle of, right, so we need to start with this training and blah, 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 and work it together. So that's that. Yeah,
I was just going to say, but getting stronger as well, that most people realise then that everyday life becomes that little bit easier. So whether it's at work, moving things at work, carrying things at work, doing things with kids, having more energy from coming, because everything's that little bit lighter from getting stronger, isn't it? It's not as hard. Your kid to pick up off the floor when they've fallen, all of a sudden don't feel as heavy as what they felt, you know, previously before.
Definitely not.
Before they had it. So I think it just turns into a massive win for most people. You know, when we talk, I know we had that thing before about, is there any such thing as functional training? No, there isn't, but it helps. But the functionality of life improves, doesn't it? In the fact that the things that you can do, getting out of a chair might be easy for somebody. You know, like like getting up because they're stronger in the legs or they're stronger in the core to get up. So it's just a win-win all around, isn't it? As far as we can see.
It definitely is. I mean, in my older strength and conditioning, we always have that external challenge point, which is, can you perform? So I'm judged by two things. My first challenge is, can the athlete stay healthy? Are they avoiding injury? And then can they do the physical task on things? So for me, like strength training female athletes is an easier sell. I still have exactly the same challenges that you guys are having in the gym floor going, I think this is the best tool that we can use for you, but there may be some resistance and resilience to that. But for me, there's a bit of an easier link between this tool and the outcome that we're trying to get. It isn't the best or people perceive it to be the best in the process. So I'm doing strength training. I'm not going to be out of breath. I'm not going to get hot and sweaty. I'm not going to be crawling off the gym floor.
Calories. Looking at the watch for how many calories they've burned. Yeah.
So if you're judging your sessions by those things because that's how you think you're going to achieve your goal, I can understand why anybody who wants those things doesn't see strength training as being the solution for them, because it's a slow burner, both in calorie wise in terms of goals and achievement. Getting strong, you see an immediate goal straight away, but then after that it takes a while to build up that strength. But it is achievable. Whereas if somebody wants to feel like they're trained and feel hot and sweaty and tired and literally drenched in sweat, a HIIT session is going to do that for you straight away. And actually then you can attribute, I feel trained, and therefore that must mean I'm moving towards my goal much faster. So I can understand why there's a bit of if somebody wants to train for appearance purposes, I want to look better in the mirror, I want to feel like I'm more toned, why those two things would link together better. I suppose then it's what it needs is the clients and your guys, or the athletes in my case, to trust you, going, can we build a bit of trust together and going, I think this is the way forwards. It's going to take us a lot longer to get there, but actually what you're telling me you want is this is the best way, but 90% of what you want to get is going to be in the kitchen anyway, not in the gym. So no matter what we did in here, 90% is still based in the kitchen because it's an appearance perspective. So a lot of the things I would kind of use as my tools in the toolbox to try and sell the benefits of strength training, things like injury prevention, bone mass, maintaining function, performance type of things, are going to be more related to athletes who could benefit from strength training. But I suppose what you're saying there is that these are the demands of everyday life, but they may be of a less high priority to somebody who's from the general population who isn't from an athletic background. But actually, some people might want to do a 10K run. They might want to be more active with the children, especially as the children get older and get bigger, and they won't do as they're told, and you have to kind of throw them around a little bit. I don't do that at all, I promise.
Neither do I.
So it's finding those kind of points of conversation where you can say, this is why I think it's a benefit to you, and then having the trust between the client and the trainer to say, yeah, I'm prepared to kind of give you this a go with you.
Yeah, Matt, you touched on something there, mate, where you're on about bone density, where you talk about to athletes, but again, we have that with our clients. Again, probably our ages, you know what I mean, in his 40s. You know, I mean, I'm going topside at mid 40s in a couple of weeks. But
I like that, topside of mid 40s. That's a really strange way of saying late 40s.
I'm going over the 45 mark. You know what I mean? So
anybody else who's not in their mid to late 40s, that's late 40s. We're mid 40s. Me and Graham mid 40s.
No, top side of mid 40s. I'm going back. That's how I'm playing it. But
I'm bald. You're wrong. Deal with it.
Our clients tend to be around. You know, I think you attract to the type of people and an age group of who you are, don't you? In a lot of ways, we still do get some younger, we get some older. But the majority, but none of us are getting any younger, are we? And as we get younger, as we get older, as we get older,
aspirational thinking,
we'll lose the muscle. But then it also leads to a decrease in bone density, doesn't it? So this, you know, like breaks and balance, and these are the other things that we always try and tell people that, you know, like number one, if you've got a better range of movement, improved balance, you're less likely to fall. If you've got stronger bones and more muscle around the things, you're less likely to get injured. But if you did happen to fall, so all these different things all lend again towards the strength training, don't they, and the benefits of that. So the bone density again. So do you want to explain a little bit, really briefly, then, on how it improves the bone density, Mark?
I'll do my best, and I'll do it as simply and as quickly as I possibly can. So bone, as much as muscle, adapts to whatever stress it's placed underneath. So if you are never stressing your bones, and not by kind of hitting it with a hammer kind of stress, it just, if you're like moving around, the more you're moving, the more load your bones have to take, it will respond to that, and it will grow more bone. So it won't get bigger or longer, but it'll get more dense. So you'll have more bone in the same space, and that density will mean it's stronger. So by going through strength training, we're overloading or placing a lot of stress on that bone to encourage it to maintain its density or increase its density. So it's about kind of load tolerance and kind of place it under load. So especially upper body weight training. So we walk around, so we call that load bearing activity. So we walk around in a day-to-day life. So your legs will take some kind of load. And if you're walking around holding lots of bags all day, you're going to overload it. So you might be okay with your lower body, but if you're not placing your upper body under any loaded stress, it's going to get weaker and weaker and weaker because it doesn't need to maintain that level of density. So total body kind of weight training is really helpful to make sure that your skeleton stays healthy. And if you don't stress that, I mean, by stress it within a certain limit, we're not kind of trying to crush you with like loads and loads of weight in a bar, just by a little bit of extra weight that's challenging for you. Your spine, arms, legs, feet, hands, all these things will increase in their density and therefore be a little bit more resistant to breaks, especially as we get older. I'm no physiologist, so I'm going to kind of dip out a little bit here, but certainly around the menopause, we have some challenges with female and their bone density. So for females of that age, that's certainly an added benefit of increasing our pre-menopause adding strength training in, so you can carry on all the way through, and it prevents those kind of declines. I'm really keen to say that's my limit of knowledge in that area.
Well, there's been a little bit about that, because one of the girls who trains here, we were on about, because she saw one of us posts on one of the girls, one of the ladies doing a deadlift when Michelle Baker wanted, she'd done a 130 kg deadlift, I think, in trap bar, which is pretty impressive really on its own. But she was saying you ought to push, because I think even Davina McCall's been doing stuff on menopause now, and how it leads to osteoporosis, and then that strength training can help counteract that condition in women as they're all going through it. And again, like you say, it's just the full benefits of what we do. I mean, we all need to be more active in general, don't we? You know, and we're not saying that cardio is not good for you. We're not saying that HIIT is not good for you, because obviously that's got health benefits, having a stronger heart and lungs.
Decline.
Are we still there?
We can hear you. I just can't see you. We can hear you. Just can't see you. So
we're back. We're back. Yeah. So stronger heart is still there.
I'm still here. Yeah, you keep going, guys.
Yeah. So stronger heart and lungs. So there's still loads of benefit for that, isn't there? It's just there's all benefit for it. But if you're training in that way just to improve your body composition and your muscle tone, then you're probably barking up at wrong tree, aren't you? There's better ways of doing it.
There are, and I suppose if you met a client for the first time and you try to sell them the benefits of strength training based on purely preventing osteoporosis, I don't think you're going to do well, are you?
Yeah, no, definitely not.
So but
this is stuff that we talk about as we're training, Matt. These are extra. These are add-ons.
And absolutely, yeah. So what we're saying here, that it's a tool. The toolbox that has lots of benefits to it, but it's like understanding why people might want to do something. So they're going to come in with a body composition goal. And it's about, can we deliver that? We can deliver that in many ways. What we're saying in strength training is one way of delivering it, but it comes with all these other benefits that you wouldn't necessarily have known about or thought about. And again, depending on your age, it's how important that is to you anyway. So if you're getting a a 21-year-old come in who wants to improve body composition, talking about osteoporosis is probably not going to have any impact on whatsoever. It might
totally.
even
It's
put
got
them
to be
off.
relevant. It's got to be relevant to the client's goals, to the person, what they want to achieve in it. And like you said, to a 20-year-old, their goal isn't to improve bone density.
It's to
because they don't need to, because the bones are fine as they are.
So it's about kind of pitching, like having the right tool for the toolbox and the right tool at the right time. And that's as much about how you communicate with the person as it is actually using strength training. And I suppose the other thing we need to talk about is actually what do we mean by strength training? Because we're talking about this concept, but many people don't necessarily know what they're talking about, because they still have this picture in their head of I'm going to show my age, pumping iron with Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 70s. I'm sure there's much more up-to-date reference points than that. But we're not talking about bicep curls and tricep kickbacks and skull crushers and on all that kind of stuff. So we're talking about what we talked about in episode 1 and 2, really, which is these big, large movements, squats, deadlifts, lunges, press-ups, pull-ups, general all-round body training. So you're using all your major muscle groups all over the time. And we're not necessarily focusing on a particular area. Each exercise has its own specific challenges. So if you're going to do squats, it's glutes and quads and that kind of thing. But it's general overround. So we're not particularly targeting. We're not trying to make your biceps stronger or your.
We're not isolating muscles,
stronger.
are we?
No.
And trying to get a pump. You don't get a pump from doing a squat there as such. You know what I mean? You might get a leg.
Mind pump.
Your mind might be going a little bit.
We're back in a minute.
Head about to explode, but yes, Gray's just had to disappear, but his phone's just rung. So yeah, you're bang on right, mate. So that's all the things that we try and push. So I don't know where we're going with that. Have we covered everything? Do we think that we need to do on that?
I think so. So we talked to why people might not want to do it, and we talked about why you could do it. So if you could run us through actually what your client that you mentioned right at the beginning, what is she doing with you that she finds so entertaining, so engaging that she's advocated that to her friends? So that might be, so those female listeners are going, right, okay, I'm a little bit convinced how you want to do it. What should I be doing?
And what should she be doing? What should they be doing? Or what are they getting out of it? Well, I'll tell you what
do your clients do with you in the gym?
Right. So I'll tell you what they get out of it, in the fact that what they don't realise that they enjoy is the seeing of the getting stronger. Like whether it be improving the squat weight, the lunges. So our exercises. So do you want me to give you an overview on how the train? We know how we train, don't we? So we focus on like lower body squat patterns, lunge patterns, and then hinge patterns. So that's your deadlifts and RDLs, full body, and then we do upper body push pull as core, like we've talked about before. We do your dead bugs, your sternum, your plank, your stability ones, anti-rotational on the like cables and bands. But what they like is what they tend to really enjoy.
Oh, we just lost Mark there for a second. Yeah, we can hear you back with us now. You're back.
Are you there? Sorry, mate. So what they tend to enjoy is the feeling of getting stronger. We've just had a girl in this morning, and she's lifted. Oh, for God's sake! And she has lifted. She's hip thrusted 180 kilos today for 5 reps, and she builds herself up to get ready to come because she's trying to lift more each week than what she did before. And she does it with proper form, and she comes in focused to do it. Not everybody's got that same intent, but we have got a good few at minute who have got that little bit where when they come in each week, they want to do that little bit more than what they did last week. And I think you can see that genuine progression. With HIIT, you never see that progression, do you?
Yeah.
So you
go feel it.
You every HIIT session is just a HIIT session. As long as they go out, like you said, dripping in sweat, they feel like they burn 400 calories in that session or whatever the tag, little tag. As long as they've done that, they don't see the progression of it. They're not study the heart rate enough and go, oh, my heart rate was this today. My recovery time's a lot quicker than what it used to be, because that's not what they do it for. But there's a genuine progression with weight training. There's that, you know, with the progressive overload, that's what it's all about. But there's a genuine progression. And when they get into it and when they buy into it, it's massive pull-ups. I'm like a lot of, we've got a lot of doing pull-ups in it. And we have done for a while, using bands to start with, and, you know, getting to thinner band, you know, and then some of them eventually they're doing pull-ups on their own, you know, and that again, it's, you can see it, can't you? You see where you want, you see where you are now, and well, everybody likes to feel like they're moving forward, don't they? I think, you know, like you can, otherwise you're just doing the same, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I think that is an added bonus on top of all the other things. You genuinely know that you've progressed, because you know that when you first came in, you were trying to do a chest press with 6 kilo dumbbells, for example, or you were doing press ups on your knees or on an incline, and you're working down. Now you're doing full press ups on floor, or you're chest pressing 15 kilo dumbbells, you know, like, so it's, yeah. And I think mentally, I think that's good for everybody, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. So I mean, that's one of the things I like strength training for. I've got a goal to try and squat as twice my body weight, and I've been vlogging about that for far too long. But it keeps you coming back, because you've got that external measure point. You've got a goal that you're accountable for. If you go to a HIIT session, you're not in control of what you do in that session. Somebody else is in control of it. You just do what they tell you to do. Whereas strength training, you are accountable to you. You go and say, if I want to do I don't know, squat X weight or hip thrust a certain weight, you are responsible for that. And each session you go into the gym, you're the one that's going to be in control of whether you move closer or not. In terms of calorie burning, because again, sometimes that's a yardstick that you find that strength training during the session, you can't. So to burn calories, they're not going to burn calorie strength training. Or they are, but not compared to going for a run.
Yeah. No.
So here's a couple of things that actually maybe people don't think about when they're thinking about strength training. Is if you're doing the same exercise, if you're doing 3 sets of 10 squats, and you start off moving 20 kilos every time, you're going to burn X number of calories. Yeah. And your heart rate monitor will tell you burnt X number of calories, and that's how it works. It works on how much did you move and how much your heart rate went up by. But as you get stronger, your heart rate won't go up by much. But if you're going to move 40, then 60, then 80, then 100 kilos, actually you are burning more calories because you are moving more weight more of the time. So you're moving 5 times as much weight, therefore you're burning 5 times more calories during that exercise. So sometimes the calorie count you get from your kind of activity watches don't give you an accurate picture from strength training. Now, it's never going to be a 10K run. I'm not suggesting that it is. But the other thing as well is that you get from strength training, particularly in the female clients, although male clients will also have the same thing, that you don't get from HIIT or from aerobic-based training, is by increasing your muscle density, you might have more muscle, you might weigh a little bit more, but you're not going to have that muscular Arnold Schwarzenegger appearance. You're just going to have more dense muscle. So it takes up the same space, but it might be more of it. That muscle will be burning calories 24 hours a day. So we talk about basic metabolic rate, how much your body burns just by living. That is going to be going up.
Yeah, so this was one thing that we talked about touching on this, didn't we? About talking about this, and you've done well to remember and pull this one back. Yeah. So
we in strength training, I always talk about in SSC. I talk about with athletes. I train you for 1 hour. That gives you 23 hours to mess it up. Well, actually, if you do proper strength training, the actual impact of that strength training over time will make it harder for you to mess up the other 23 hours because you're burning more calories more over the time. And one thing that I shared a paper with these guys last week, that actually if you do weight training, strength training, and then you go for a 20-minute walk after that strength training, your burning of fat is increased compared to just going for a normal 20-minute walk. So if you pair that 45-minute weight session with a 20-minute walk, you probably have the same level of fat burning as your HIIT session, depending on how fast you walk and how far you walk, all those kinds of things. Or you can certainly offset some of that difference. So if you are obsessed by calorie counting in your workouts, there are ways of accommodating that. And most people, and again, most people, I'm not using males or females here, most people will talk about burning calories. They want to burn fat mass. They're not
of course
really
it's definitely appeals to us all.
Glycogen levels are they? I've got too much glycogen. I need to get rid of some of this. It's kind of I need to burn some fat calories. So
Yeah.
and we're talking specifically about, I'm going to call it free fatty acids. It's basically the fat floating around in your blood. Strength training releases some of those. You go for a walk, you burn more of those off in that walk after strength training you would have if you just go for a 20-minute walk on its own.
Mark, that probably, because like it just goes back to, I mean, we're probably running out of time here, but that goes back to that probably helps instead of it probably makes the fat burning zone type thing more, because we always laugh at the fat burning zones on your cardio machines, and people would rather go on a cardio machine for an hour in fat burning zone at lower intensity than actually train, because they think, well, I'm burning fat, but by doing it after you've done your strength training, you probably are burning you probably are getting rid of more fat, aren't you? You are burning that fat more efficiently, because that's when you do burn fat at the lower intensity training, don't you? But overall, you're not getting enough benefit unless you do nothing else. It's still a benefit, but if you have a chocolate bar and a latte afterwards, then you probably put it all back on again.
But I think that's a massive one. That I
know that's your thing.
I think that's a huge incentive, massive incentive. That if people think that doing a strength session or a weight, let's call it a resistance session, a straight, like it doesn't have to be strength, like I said, but a resistance training session followed by a low intensity walk or a cycle, something that you can just go do. Most people, they might go home and walk the dog after they've been to gym. They think they are benefiting more from that from this improving body composition point of view. That surely has got to spur people on to do it. I know it would me. Yeah, definitely.
I'm going to start doing it.
Yeah. You should.
Well, in your late 40s.
Yeah, I am. This chair's getting lower. I keep having to lift the chair up, and it's getting lower every 2 minutes.
It's just sinking.
That's just your spine shrinking with age.
Well,
yeah, because it's so old.
Because I'm so old. Yeah,
I think we've
at the end of your mid-40s.
That would have good on that, wasn't it? End of your mid-40s.
Well, listen, when you'll get there. You're only a couple of years behind, 3 years behind. It's hard to believe.
But we're still early 40s. I'd class us as
No, you're not.
I'm mid.
Anyway,
Gray's 42, so I'll let you off for that one. I'm 43, so I'm not going to pretend to be.
He'll be 43 soon, though. It won't be long.
It's like it's half a year off me.
No. You know how quick. You know how.
And you're 42 and a half, Gray. You're 42 and a half.
You know how time fast goes. Fast time goes now.
So, have we covered all the points that we think that will benefit anybody listening to this? We have, haven't we?
Yes.
I absolutely would do. I mean, and what I also say is that we're really open to, if this is kind of encourage people to think about this, our slow reservations, please do get in contact. We can always follow this with answering 100%. Questions, sharing ideas. Follow you guys on Instagram and YouTube and stuff like that, because you do often post pictures of your training system with your clients to see what your female clients are doing. So you've got a bit of an image of that. Some of the things I think really we need to do is encourage more positive role models. So look at how other female athletes are training. And I shared something in our Instagram feed this week about, here's some pictures of that female athletes training, and here's them performing. And these are not muscle bound Arnold Schwarzenegger in a wig types. These are lean, athletic people who are performing at the highest level. And they don't look like anybody else on the street, but they do engage in strength training.
But look at the hours they're training, Mark, to just end up looking like that. So that proves, isn't it? What like it's even if you thought that were a bit on top, maybe bulkier side for them or the more muscular side for what they're playing. These are full-time athletes out there that you posted.
Absolutely. I mean, one of them was like Jess Ennis. Like she has to jump over like 1.5 meter high. She has to jump over hurdles and sprint the back. That is a person who cannot afford to have an ounce more weight than she can cope with. Otherwise, she can't do her event. So she would not engage in anything that would deteriorate or detract away from her doing her best in those events. She got to do the long jump, high jump, hurdles. Like she needs to be as light as possible and have the most amount of power and explosiveness per kilo she can get, because that's what makes her good at her sport. So like those
looks you start good as well.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I mean, I'm an SSC coach. I look at her, which looks like going over hurdles, and go, okay, she could jump higher, jump faster, and all that kind of stuff. But if that's an image that other females looking at, I would like that. Then look, that's what she does. Yes, she does the other 7 other events at the same time. I'm not suggesting you have to start high jumping or anything like that, but I'm just trying to kind of link those two things together, going, look, you can do strength training and it doesn't end up in what you think it looks like. It looks like something different. What I suppose, from my point of view,
I don't know what's...
Speaking to other PTs out there, so people who are not in my position, who like, if athlete came to me, we'd have our own gym. We'd be in our facility and there'd only be us in
still
there.
there, mate? I reckon we've run out of time.
Right.
Oh, no, it's still
I
there.
am here, guys. No, I'm here. We've had some technical
You just
today.
froze. You went solid on screen.
On that note, though, I'm going to have to go now.
Yeah, we do need to. It's 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll wrap up there. So
Yeah.
if you like today's episode and you got any questions, please get in contact and we'll try and answer those in the next one. Please like us and follow us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, subscribe to us on YouTube, leave us a rating and comment, and we'll see you all next week.